Internet safety. Start over. Welcome. We're so glad you're here today. And Jody Eames is here today talking about internet safety. Jody works at John Sevier Elementary School, and Corporal Eric Costner, and he is with One County Schools. It's an SRO, will be joining us also. You're more than welcome to sit down. You're more than welcome to walk around. We have the capability that the owl will follow you wherever you go as you speak. But we're really glad that you all are here. If anyone on Zoom has any questions, please put it in the chat, and Sarah will make sure that we are aware of those questions as we go along, and we can answer any questions. And as for anyone in the room, please feel free to join in. This is casual and informal. We want you to be informed. Okay. All right, Jody, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. I have been at John Sevier for, this is my 28th year. I was first grade technology and now STEM. So I've kind of been around the block a few times, but I got interested in internet safety probably about, I would say 10 years ago. And ever since then, it's like gotten even more crazy, but there we go. All right. Does everyone have children? Okay. What do your kids do online, whether they're little or big? This is interaction here. Games, social media, TikTok, videos,
Shopping.
YouTube, shopping. Yes, absolutely. Basically, they do everything online now. Everything. All because of that little thing that's in their pocket. The absolute most important thing you're going to think about in internet safety is communication. Not filters, not firewalls, nothing. Communication is what you need to make sure you remember about internet safety. The more you communicate with your kids, the better. And start young.
From a child's perspective, growing up with somebody like yourself, it's for parents, it's a huge thing to have the ability to just listen and have an open dialogue, because at the end of the day, children don't have anybody to ask about how life works. They're just thrown into this crazy world and they have no idea how to interact with it and interpret it. And they need somebody like a parent, whether it's their parent or somebody else's, to help them learn that and understand that. And if you're not providing that to your kid, they're gonna have some problems online, right? It's just the name of the game.
They're gonna find out whether it's from you or from their friends. So the more you talk and communicate with your kids at a very young age, the better. These are all the things that we're just gonna quickly cover today. Inappropriate contact, online privacy, online enticement, sexting, sextortion, and cyberbullying. All right, if you have a child, I'm gonna say 8 and lower, you still need to be having these conversations. This is important over here, 8 and younger. Looking at inappropriate content. It is not if they see inappropriate content, it's when. Every single kid's gonna see it, whatever computer device they're on, their phone, their computer, their iPad, their Game Boy, their Switch, whatever, they're going to see it. So start talking now. I say tweens now, I'm bumping down to 9 because that is the average age they get a phone. And as soon as they get that phone, it's a whole new world for them. They're going to see all of this stuff. And you think your kid is smarter than that? Not necessarily. Start conversations when they're young. Now, I'm not going to read all this to you, but I am going to point out, get comfortable talking about uncomfortable topics. If you need to say sex 500 times out loud to be comfortable with it, do it. Because you have to bring it up. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations when they're little, and that's sad. But we have to start doing that. You have to make sure you are working on resiliency. They're going to see it. How are you going to teach them about it? How are you going to talk about it? You want them to come to you when this happens, not freak out, take pictures and then send it to all their friends and go, look what I just got. We don't want that. We want to make sure they come to us before they ever start thinking of going to their friends, and they will if you've started those uncomfortable conversations. All right, inappropriate content. That is almost everything. Pornography, excessive violence, hate speech, risky or illegal behavior. All of that is your inappropriate content. And again, it is when they see it, not if. It is when they see it. Make sure you listen. Try not to judge them. And then this one. Remain calm. Inside, you're gonna go, oh my God. But you've got to remain calm and leave it to the kids to ask questions. Allow them to ask questions. And please don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't know. Let's look that up. Let's figure that out together. It's okay if you don't know the answer. Respecting boundaries, please don't confuse that with privacy. My poor kid, and I'm going to talk about my kid a lot today, so if anybody knows her, I will deny it that I talked about her. But I tell her all the time, there is absolutely no right to privacy in my home. Absolutely not. Now, am I going to respect a boundary? Yes, but those boundaries are going to grow as she gets older and she proves that she can handle it. Otherwise, nope, I'm gonna read every single thing you do. I'm gonna look at every single thing you do. So, and when they earn it, okay, move on. But you've got to make sure you are taking and you are being proactive, not reactive. Don't frighten them as a parent. Listen and try to stay calm. When you're freaking out in your head, they're thinking you're listening. So you just keep thinking, say, what am I say? And then as they're talking, and the more they talk, the better. Let them talk. Answer their questions. And if absolutely necessary, report it. Absolutely report it. What they should do, something that I think is very important, I don't know from a law enforcement, but use the back button, turn off the screen, but don't exit. The more evidence you have, the better. Keep it, screenshot it, do all that stuff when you're alone with it, but teach them, okay, wait, I'm just gonna close the screen, or I'm just gonna power off or, click my thing, put it to sleep, so that you can see it and that you can help save it and record it. Privacy settings is huge. Any of the games that those kids are playing, any of the social media, you need to be involved with all of the privacy settings. Get in there and dig. You can't mess something up. Sorry, that's my first grade's coming. You can't really mess things up. The tighter your privacy settings, actually, the better. And then as they get older, obviously, you can start doing things. Reporting and blocking. Blocking is really, really important. Block those people. Talk to them about blocking them. I have a story about my kid. She does not have a phone. She's 12. She has an iPad. I let her do Messenger. That's the only thing, because I can control who she talks to and I can see every word she types. She actually said to me one day, she said, Mom, I deleted a friend. I was like, well, why? She said, well, they just weren't being very nice. I'm like, oh, hallelujah. It was a win. She was able to block that kid without ever coming to me, which was lovely. Online privacy. That is not something new. We've talked about online privacy a lot. And sadly, parents are the worst about unintentionally giving out your location and private information. All right, unknown people on online games. Do your kids play online games? Are the people that they talk to and chat with and play with always who they say they are? No, they are not. So remember that. Now you all can read all of that. But remember that, those online games. So your kid's playing, I'm gonna go with Roblox because that's younger kids. Roblox. They're chatting with this person that they've met. They're on the same level, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got, oh, my kid would never give out personal information, ever. We talk about it all the time, which you probably do. But parents are going to be posting, hey, my little girl did such a good job at her John Sevier Fox cheer team. Okay. This person who is not a child now knows who the mother is, now knows they are a John Sevier Fox, now can Google what the schedule is for the ball games, and now they're sitting in the audience watching your kid. Then they come back online and say, hey, I went to your ball game. You were really good in your cheer. So it's like, parents, we love our kids, we brag on our kids. Just be careful of unintentionally telling these people where to find your kid. It's scary.
Cause I admitted someone.
Oh, okay. There we go. So what can you do? Obviously, you can read all this. The biggest thing here is your privacy setting and talk about your friends list. Know who your kids are talking to. Make sure that there's somebody that maybe they know in person. I never I'm gonna say yet, nor talk to somebody on her little messenger if I don't know personally who they are. I'm gonna say yet, because it's coming, I'm sure. All right, online enticement involves individual communicating with someone believed to be in touch with the child via the internet. All right, so sexual offense, abduction, and sex tortion, which we'll talk about in just a second. But that's what online enticement is. And you always think, oh, my kid is smarter than that. If most of the time they are solicited by their peers. These are usually the older end of your teenagers, tweens as well. Because now that they have these phones and they're chatting with everybody, they want that feedback, that instant feedback. They want people to tell them how beautiful they are, how awesome they are in basketball. Oh, I love the touchdowns that you made on Friday night. But it's always not always, usually their peers. But here's the thing that really is weird to me. Most are not bothered by it. The reason they're not bothered by it is because they're desensitized to it, which is sad. They see it all the time. They are trying to get people to meet with them. This is the one where I want you to click the screen. It happens all the time. Jump in anytime. Okay.
Well, the only thing, what I'll say about that is, all the things she's talking about is, we call it law enforcement grooming. So whenever you have someone who's older, they're grooming, because most kids love attention, and people that are predators that are looking to do that, it's, for whatever reason, they tend to be able to tell which kids are having issues in other areas, whether it be in the household, mom and dad are split up, and they're struggling with that, or they've got something else going on, just using that as an example. But it always starts by grooming, wow, you look really pretty today. I love that dress. I went to your basketball game, like she said, and I've actually whenever I start talking, I've got a video of a guy named Jose Monkey on YouTube, and it's scary what people just post a 5 to 8 second clip of where they're at themselves, and he can go and find you anywhere in the country, and he's found people all over the world, so it's pretty wild. We'll watch a video of that a little later, but grooming is where it starts, and God knows where it ends, but it's you always got to look out for that. If it's your child comes home getting an unusual amount of attention from somewhere else, that's weird. So
it happened to me 5 years ago. My parents were divorcing, and things at school and with friends weren't too good. I felt like the world was falling down around me. That's when I met someone online. We would chat about everything in my life. I finally had someone to take my side and see things my way. I had someone who put me first. No matter how much I thought we could trust each other, I knew better than to meet in person with someone I had met on the internet. But one day, when school was dismissed early, there was someone waiting for me at my front door. I never thought I'd find myself in this situation. I learned the hard way that no matter who you think you're talking to online, there are people out there looking to hurt you. It doesn't matter if they're male or female, or if they look a little rough around the edges, or even if they're the most beautiful person. These people exist, online and in the real world.
It happened to me too. I was 14 and someone online sent me a private message. I shouldn't have responded, but I messaged back and 7 days later, agreed to be picked up outside of my house at midnight. I was taken to another house and what happened there was terrifying. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I felt numb and powerless and didn't know what to do. I was too afraid to tell my parents and ashamed of what everyone would think of me. But hiding it was a mistake. I saw the car that I was taking and driving around my neighborhood all summer long. Was I being targeted again, or was someone else being victimized? I finally decided to tell someone.
I have to live with the decision I made to trust someone I met on the internet.
But the important thing is that I told someone. I'm not a victim, but a survivor.
Grooming, that is very important, and it could go for a very long time. It is not a 1 to 2 conversation. It is a long time. It starts off innocent, then it gradually gets to be much more. For example, you've got this high school boy is talking to this middle school girl. She's all about it because this high school boy is giving her attention, telling her all of these things, and it's going. Hey, send me a picture of your outfit you're wearing tonight to the ball game. She does. Gets on further. Hey, I want to get my sister some new underwear. What time do you, or what type do you wear? Send me a picture. And it just keeps going and going. And it's scary how believable these people can actually be. And I thought this was ridiculous, offering gifts and cell phones and gift cards, but it's true. It is absolutely true. Thanks, Sarah.
Oh, that's not what I do. Don't know why that worked.
So this is what he was talking about. If they start acting different, you've got lots of different signs of grooming. If they get upset when they're not getting to get online, they're not getting that fix of having that attention, rejecting family members, they're starting to go hide in their room for longer periods of time. They all do it anyway, but starting calling unknown numbers, receiving gifts, just weird gifts. Hey, I just got a pair of Beats today. Well, they don't have a job. So, something's up with that. Minimizing the screen, they're very fast. They can hit those buttons that will instantly minimize your screen so that you can't see it. Talk to your kids about their relationships, absolutely. Teach them the warning signs. Actually talk to them about it. Use the words grooming. Use the words, all the things. Use those words. And know your online friends. Know who they are. I make sure I know exactly who it is that my kid is looking or talking to. I know that list gets huge. And when you have social media, it's almost next to impossible. It actually probably is impossible not to know every single person that they're talking to. But always call our friends in blue.
With talking to kids online, I will say it's harder. So my son plays Fortnite a lot. Well, a lot of that's, open lobby. Well, he's got a mic and he's talking to, there's 100 people in a match typically. So there's 99 people usually that are on there, and he's got a friends list that's huge. He don't know any of them really. They just play games together. And so that it happens very easily. And my son, you know, we try to, I go through and police it every so often, go through and just delete a bunch of friends because he's got 50 or 60 friends on his friends list on Xbox. And it's like, why does he don't play with, you know what I mean? It's just, and most of the time I want to think it's, you know, it's innocent, it's all kids close to his age, but you never know. You never know. And there's grown adults that play it, and that's how it starts. And, you know, they start asking more intrusive questions and stuff, and because your kid has talked to them more and more and more, they become more comfortable with them, just like we would anybody else. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Starts innocent for sure. That's why we've got to teach our kids to be capable of talking to them and say, that's gross. And delete them. Talking to them. And I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to read it. It says, well, now I can't even read it.
Want to trade? And the child says, trade, like nudes. I'll go first. No, photo sent. Bye, you're gross. Keep some clothes on, LOL.
Teaching your kids how to do this is that's our goal. We want them to be able to police themselves. And that happens with our conversations, talking all the time about what do you do if those kinds of things. Sexting, in my opinion, has gotten crazy in probably the last 5 years. These numbers are probably lower. This was a study done in 2023. I would say it's probably gone up. 34.8% of teens say they have received a sext. We got to teach them what to do. Most of the time, it's to impress a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Most of the time, it's that peer pressure thing. Peer pressure is huge, especially on our middle school, junior high ages. That is big. Well, high school too, but they kind of start getting their identities closer into their high school years. So peer pressure and trying to impress.
As a former principal, it never goes away. I became a principal at a high school, and a particular young lady had done this prior to my getting there. And then 3 years later, it resurfaced on my watch. So it doesn't ever go away. And, you know, we tried to teach about respecting yourself to our young ladies through that program. So it's there always.
Oh, yes. Once it's there, it's always there. It doesn't matter if you delete it or not.
You probably get lots of messages every day, but what if you got one like this? What would you do? Would you send a picture? No? Cool. That's an easy way to protect yourself. But what if you'd chosen differently? What if you send the picture? They'd never share it with anyone else, right? Do you want the picture shared with others? Sorry, you no longer have a choice. It's out of your hands now, because sometimes people we trust break that trust. Maybe the person you sent the picture to shows it to some friends. Maybe they send it to a couple friends, who send it to a couple more friends, you get the idea. It spreads, and you never know who might see it. Your little brother? Your mom? Other people at school?
Seriously? Then I would never.
Even strangers could get a hold of your picture. You never really know where that picture will end up.
Look at it.
How long it will be out there? Or what the consequences will be. Don't let others decide what happens to your image. Think before you share. Learn more at netsmarts.org. And hey, if your image is already out there, know that it's not your fault. For information about removing sexual pictures and videos from the internet, visit missingkids.org/gethelpnow.
Like you she said, once it's there, it's there. Talk to your kids about what happens. The kid, they sent it to their boyfriend or whatever, somebody they trust. But the other kid grabbed it out of his hand, now it's gone. So it may be that you trust that person, great. But do you trust everybody else? If he left his phone sitting there, anybody can pick it up and get it. Consequences, we all know the consequences of sexting. All right, addressing it. Make sure you talk about real life examples with your kids. Show them that video once it's out. You've got one picture and then now it's everywhere. It has gotten so big with all of social media that it just spread. It's like wildfire. You cannot ever get it back. Sextortion, that just means, this is a relatively new term. It's not a new thing. It's a new term. This is when it demands additional sexual content, sexual activity, or money from a child based on an image or something that they have received. So what can you do? Obviously, do not comply to the demands. Make sure you report it on the app. Don't delete the account. We want as much evidence as possible when we are trying to prevent this from happening again. Again, teach your kids to close it, put it to sleep, do whatever.
This is something that happens to adults too all the time. I can't tell you how many calls we answer where somebody, a male was on a dating app and sent an inappropriate picture, and now they're using it to extort them for whatever money. And you know, the problem with that is as a law enforcement standpoint, it's hard to prosecute because typically they're not in the country. I mean, you can tell you got a real thick accent and the number is local, but they spoof the numbers all the time with different websites and stuff. And they're gonna extort you for as much money as they can. And then if you don't do it, they are gonna send it to, I mean, if they have access to typically like Instagram, I don't know much about Instagram, but it's apparently you can see a lot of your friends list and stuff if you're friends with them. So if it starts there, they're gonna go down your friends list and start sending it to people. We've seen that happen several times. And like I said, man, I can't go take that back. I don't know how to do that. You know, I mean, it's never gonna go away, and I'm not gonna be able to prosecute somebody that's in, you know, a different country, and you're over in Europe or something. I mean, it's virtually impossible for me to do anything with. So the only advice I give people is don't send them any money, expect it to go to your friends and block them. That's the only thing you can do.
The best advice is don't send the stupid
Yeah,
picture.
yeah. So that happens all the time. I mean, I've been at the sheriff's office for going on 11 years now, and I've probably answered 150 calls myself of similar situation like that. So,
Gina and I work at the junior high, which is 8th and 9th grade students, and this does happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy, especially that age, because they're thinking, oh, well, they'll do whatever I want because they don't want their picture shared. Yep. Cyberbullying, we've heard for many, many years. Cyberbullying it can take on a whole new look with social media. You've got a huge mass audience now, which is pretty scary to me. This one happens all the time. Creating fake profiles. There are so many groups out there, bullying groups of lists of who I wouldn't date blah, blah, blah list at the junior high. And then there's all these names. That's a form of cyberbullying. It is all so crazy how this can go from innocent little things to now it's a huge photoshopping pictures. These kids have their little computers in their hands. It's an innocent picture, but they can Photoshop it make it not an innocent picture, nobody knows the difference. So then there it goes.
And cyberbullying was not in TCA up until last year. So there was nothing, I mean, cyberbullying is just a form of harassment. It still is a form of harassment, but there was no definition for it from a law enforcement standpoint. So that, I mean,
It's TCA.
Tennessee Code annotated as
Oh,
charge criminal code. So I mean, before last year, I mean, there was nothing you could really do about it. I mean, just tell them to block them, which is good advice anyways, but you know, the cyberbullying, and I've handed people and parents, I've handed them a TCA book and said, if you find me cyberbullying in there, I'll charge them with it. It's not in there. So now they've added it to harassment. It's still just a misdemeanor. So a lot of times you get a citation out of it, but best advice is just block them.
Cyberbullying spreads faster if you've got that wider audience. These are signs to look for. Oh, I mean, just regular bullying as well, like physical bullying, but you've got your loneliness. They try to run away, they isolate, they have low self-esteem, and that's usually a target as well for all kinds of other things. So keep an eye on those kids. Blocking them, save the evidence as best you can, screenshots, print it out, whatever you need to do. Also, we need to think about our own kids being that bully. We all think our children are angels. Not so much. We need to also be very much aware of what they are saying to their friends, to their internet world. We've got to be careful, and we need to watch our own kids. Watch what they are saying. If they're quickly switching off your screens, computers at all hours, all of those things, avoids discussions. Hopefully that's a signal of, oh wait.
There's no one in town, I know. You gave us some place to go. I never said thank you for that. Thought I might get one more chance. What would you think of me now? So lucky, so strong, so proud. Never said thank you for that. Now I never have a chance. May angels lead you in. Here you meet my friends. On sleepless roads the sleepless go. May angels lead you in. And if you were with me tonight, I'd sing to you just one more time. Song for a heart so big God wouldn't let it live. May angels lead you in. Hear you meet my friends on sleepless roads, the sleepless go. May angels lead you in. May angels lead you
Amanda committed suicide 1 month after posting that. She was 15. It is sad how something as simple as a picture leads to this. So communicate, talk to your kid. I gave you this. Here's the first 5 things you should do immediately. Start talking, communicate. Check the browsing history. I can't get into how to do that because all these devices are so very different, but check your browsing history. I was checking my daughter's on school device, no less. She was searching for gay and homophobic. I was like, oh, we need a conversation. Pulled her in, say, hey, she's like, I didn't do that. Turn the computer around, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. What questions do you have? We have to, or they just are gonna find out from other people, all of their friends. Personally, I would only allow devices in common areas, curfew for cell phones. Find out their usernames and passwords. Find them out, write them down in your little secret book or whatever, and occasionally check them. There are 5 social media apps, and you may have another one that I would highly recommend you get involved with. Get on them. I don't like them, but get on them, get used to them, follow your children, make sure you are watching what they're doing. See if you think this is right. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and Be Real.
Yeah.
Okay. There's always new ones all the time, so you gotta stay up with that. But this is a great thing to do just to start quickly getting involved, getting engaged, learn it and connect it.
Jody, will you make that available so we can email that to anybody that requests that?
Absolutely, yeah, because these are links right here are links of, it's like a quick sheet guide or a quick tip. It tells you how to get onto Instagram. It tells you what parent controls there are. It tells you all kinds of things. So these are actually links, so it's actually better if it's digital. So you can click on it and it takes you right there. So it's a great guide for parents. But that's all I have. I'll let you take over.
Yeah. Useful pull that Google Doc up. That's all I got. So you guys had a fabulous presentation, PowerPoint with her. You're not gonna have that with me. You got a sheet of paper and we'll go over a couple things. But, so my thing with social media, first and foremost, my name's Corporal Carson with the Sheriff's Office. I've been there going on 11 years. I've been an SRO since 2019. So, and I've been in several different schools. So I was at Everett for 3 years, went to Heritage High School for a couple of years, went to Heritage Middle School for a few months, and then ended up going to Heritage High School. Now I've just got moved back to Everett. So Everett's K through 12. So kids of all ages I deal with pretty regularly. And I'm going to talk to you first and foremost, Snapchat. I don't let my kids I got 4 kids, 13, 11, 9, 2. None of them have any type of social media. I think that's, if you want to talk about protecting your kids from social media, the most important thing you can do is not let them have it. And I know it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I would say 90% of the crimes that we see have some shape, form, or fashion of Snapchat involved that we see in the school systems. I mean, if it's not runaway or cyberbullying takes place on Snapchat, Snapchat is, I've nicknamed it the devil. It is, I don't know much good. I don't think it was designed for good. I don't think it's been good for, I don't know what good has come out of Snapchat. I don't have one. Somebody could probably educate me on that, but I don't know anything good about Snapchat. It's terrible. That's my opinion. So, it does have a map also, so we have used I guess that is a good point, with Snapchat. Kids have Snapchats all the time. We've had runaways. And we've been able to use a Snapchat map. We get somebody that's got a Snapchat from one of their friends or something. We've used that to help find kids that have run away. But now they're getting, like they always do, they get smarter and smarter, and they turn it off. So access to drugs on Snapchat. I can't tell you how many times I've been through a kid's phone and I've seen drug menus. I've got that listed up there. That's because it's like a little shopping list or a menu, and it's got, marijuana gummies, and it's got a price out next to it. I mean, it's just like you would see in a menu at a restaurant. They send it out on Snapchat, and luckily there's obviously there's all different levels of intelligence on it, but the ones that I've found been pretty, like the group I found several drug menus in was labeled dope group. So that was they call that a clue in my line of work. So we clicked on that. We found all kinds of different menus and drugs and stuff, and people trying to meet up and give drugs. I've had kids' parents be frustrated. Whenever I was at Everett, the first time, I had plenty of parents come in and swear their kid was getting drugs from Everett, they gotta be getting it from the school. Well, at Everett, we take it pretty seriously. They get wanted every day if you're there for suspension. So you get with a metal detector. So, all these vapes and stuff, which is a hot item, that always hits on that. So, and I found, and then you get to talking to some of the kids, and we found conversations on Snapchat and get a parent to let me in the phone, and we start looking around, and you can see where somebody has set up a meet, and kid goes outside, puts $20 in a mailbox, guy drives by, takes the money, leaves the drugs. That happens all the time. And it just goes on and on. My biggest piece of advice for Snapchat is don't let your kids have it. So some of the other ones, there's some good aspects too. If you monitor them well, I think they're perfectly fine. I can't think of anything good that comes out of Snapchat.
I co-sign that.
Do what? Yeah.
I'm 27 and I co-sign that.
Yeah, I mean,
I tell all my friends who are parents, I'm like, don't let your kids have
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Yeah, it's
Well,
awesome.
even if they have it and you follow them.
Just didn't know.
Yeah.
They have the option for a private
Yeah.
story that you don't get to see
Yeah.
you may think,
Scary.
I'm following my child on Snapchat, but yet
Yeah.
you're not seeing the private things. that
And
they post.
it's set up to be sneaky, to hide things in general. That's why it was designed, to send nudes, so that way.
Cause they disappear.
Yeah, because they disappear and they go away, and it makes it really hard. Snapchat now only holds that stuff for so long. I don't know exactly what the time frame is, and they don't cooperate with law enforcement very well. So it's a whole process in order to get something from them. And the one time I've done it in my career where I found out really out of my league, I wrote a search warrant for Snapchat, two usernames for 18 days for two young men, and I get back 1,568 media files. And so now you got to look through 1,500 media files to find the evidence you're looking for the crime. So I was a little outmatched for that. And don't do it. Snapchat's just bad. That's my stand. The other one I'll talk about, and Jody didn't really go over it much, was Discord. So it's pretty popular with gaming. It's just like an online chatting platform where you get on and there's multiple people joining into a chat room and you're talking on a mic. You can do it on a keyboard, video, all that. But there has been an uptick in child predators, sex predators on Discord. So there's in its 5 years time, there's been 35 cases over that, and it's up and coming in that portion. If you want to hit Jose Monkey, no, don't do the link. If you just want to YouTube Jose Monkey, and so this is another portion. So back to what Jody was talking about, these adults being able to find your children and figure out where they're at. this guy is pretty incredible. Now, he's obviously really smart, but you know, if he can do it, there's several other people that can do it. And he finds, just click on that one, that's a good one.
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises, and turn website layouts into an art form.
Okay, Jose Monkey, find me. Where am I at?
You asked me to figure out where this video was recorded, so I did. Hi, I'm Jose Monkey, and I find people who ask to be found. Guys, one of the harder things about open source intelligence is finding, combining, and correlating disparate sources of data. It's often the case that the information you're looking for is out there, but getting it all into one place in a format that you can use to produce actionable insights is usually half the challenge. In trying to find this location, I stumbled across a data set that was unusually analysis friendly. And guys, that made all the difference in the world. So what can we see? This person asks to be found and then shows us their surroundings. There's a partially obscured sign here that looks like it starts with the letter L. We actually have some highway signs here, but they were really blurry and I was having a hard time reading them. There's not much to look at across the street here, it's just a big open field. Then they turn the camera back the other direction and we can see that they are at a Quick Trip gas station. I also noticed that we have what looks like a dark colored water tower off in the distance. And that's about it. Okay, so Quick Trip has almost 900 locations across 6 different states. I was hoping I could use the OpenStreetMap database to find Quick Trip locations that were fairly close to water towers. In this case, it looked a little bit far to me. I estimated like maybe 500 meters. That's like a third of a mile. So I wrote a quick query and tried that. And I got some results, but none of them were right. And frankly, that wasn't too surprising because it seemed like I wasn't getting nearly enough Quick Trip results. I suspected that there were Quick Trip locations that just weren't in the OpenStreetMap database. And that's not uncommon because OpenStreetMap is community maintained, so it's often incomplete. Usually the best way to get a comprehensive list of the locations for a particular business, at least retail businesses like this, is to go to their site and find their store locator. But locators like that are often optimized for a very specific use case, i.e. getting a consumer to the closest location to them. But if you're trying to do the sort of thing that I do, they're often much harder to work with. And guys, I've struggled with many a store locator. But even when they're easy to work with, the trouble with using a store locator is while it has lots of good information about their own locations, that's all it's got. It's not going to tell you anything else, like which places are close to water towers. And usually trying to combine the data that you can get from a store locator with other data sets involves a lot of screen scraping and a lot of manual data transformation. And it's usually not worth it. But guys, as I was looking at the Quick Trip site, I found something I did not expect. They actually have a page that lists all of their locations, and you can download the data as a comma-separated list. And it includes latitude and longitude coordinates for every location. It's a freaking jackpot. Anyway, I downloaded the CSV file and did a quick rewrite of my data query. Now I could look for water towers once again that were close to Quick Trip locations, but this time I knew I had a good list of locations. And when I ran that query, I got more results than I did before. And I was able to filter out the locations I had already looked at so I could focus on just the new locations. And it didn't take too long to find this location that was near a water tower and also across the street from a large open field. And guys, that was it. You were here at this Quick Trip location in Turtle Lake, Wisconsin. I used Google Street View to confirm the location. Here's a view of the water tower from the gas station. And by the way, if we'd been able to see the water tower more clearly, it would have been game over really fast, because it says Turtle Lake on the water tower. Anyway, here's that sign that was partially obscured in the video. And here are those highway signs that I couldn't read. You were not actually at one of the pumps at the gas station when you recorded this, so I can't play my favorite game, which pump was it? But I can tell you that you were standing right over here on this line in between these 2 parking spaces. By the way, in case you're wondering, this Quick Trip location was not in the OpenStreetMap database. But don't worry, because I'm going to go at it now. Okay, it's time to check which previous location was closest to this one. And this time it was way back in lightning round number 5 in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. That's about 52 miles or 83 kilometers.
So you can see, and that's actually one of the ones that took him quite a while longer. There's like, he's got like 3 or 4 seasons, and each of them seem to be like over 100 episodes where he's locating somebody based on a 5 to 10 second clip. And to me, that's awfully scary because in social media, if your child's posting a picture or a video of themselves, I mean, if he's able to do that in an hour, just imagine somebody that's obsessing over it and has a lot more time to put into that. So to me, that is just another reason why I don't let my kids have any type of social media. It's just hard to police. You can do all the policing you want, and the communication is very important, but at the end of the day, I mean, an innocent video is what's it jeopardizing? And so if you'll click on that link there, this is a Discord. This is just a Discord story where this mother finds out that her teen is, I don't have to play, I didn't watch the video, just scroll down. So. Yeah, so you can see that the Discord, so essentially sum it up, this mom finds out that her son is being sexually sexual exploitation of a minor on Discord, and there's like 3 or 4 different examples, and I'm more than happy to share. And this is just, I mean, it just happens over and over again where there's more, and it goes on. It's got some good information in it about what you can do, be involved, communicate, what to look for, things like that. Go back to the police, yeah. And what's that one? Oh, so that one is, this is another Discord, but so apparently they have hidden chat communities now. So on Discord, you know, this is, and this kind of goes into, it was found, NBC News identified 35 cases over the past 6 years of sexual involving children, and several of them are waiting plea deals and different things. Some of them are still pending. But Discord's relatively new, and most people think of Discord as a app that your child uses or people use to whenever they're playing games online. But it just goes to show that people take innocent things and turn them, you know, like they've always done for years. They take something that was designed to be innocent and be very useful, and they've turned it against other people. If you'll highlight that and plug that in. I think that's about all I've got. This is just a list of some of the things that, some of the apps and stuff that people can use to monitor. And I know the schools use, this is like a top 10 list of apps and that you can use to monitor your children's devices. So I know the Blount County Schools uses Bark. Right, so we get a lot of notification that it keys on keywords, suicide, and just all kinds of different keywords. But the big thing we've seen has been, yes, ma'am.
I have a question, and I wish I knew technology better to ask the question better, but how is AI going to impact this?
AI will generate anything you ask it.
Yes, and so it can generate, if someone sends a picture, that picture can be regenerated in any shape or form. And then distributed in any way, shape or form.
So yes, it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really scary to me because they can take bits and pieces of people and regenerate.
Yeah, so part of what that guy, Jose Monkey, does is he's a software engineer. And so he uses, now he gets very technical into it, but most of the time people send a video clip with a street sign and a couple identifiable marks, and he doesn't have to write any code for it. But he goes into some of them where he actually writes code to identify, like him. And now AI does it for you. That's what's crazy is you can, there's different things where you can put like a list of information, like a data bank into it. And then you can ask the AI program to search for this, this, and this, and use this data bank, and it'll pull up all your different variables and stuff. So he's done that in some of his. It's pretty wild what you can find. I mean, just a picture, especially if you know, like from around here, if you knew the area, I've been working the streets, Blount County, working these streets for 11 years. And if somebody's got a road sign in the background, pretty much know where it's at here. And so there's all kinds of, it's just scary.
Carrie and I did a home visit about, I guess, a month and a half ago. And it was a grandmother raising 2 teenage grandchildren. And she had Bark set up in her home. And so we were asking her about it. She was telling us about it. And she was saying, I will get a text that says so-and-so is engaging in bullying behavior. And what had happened was the girl had sent her brother a text to shut up or something.
Yeah.
And it's that detailed in terms of, she would get an alert just based on the lingo in their text messages or any of their activity. And of course, she had all the controls so that they could get on different apps and things like that. But we were kind of fascinated by that whole setup.
Yeah, Bark's really good. I don't know how much any of that costs or if there's expenses with it, but there's 10 there, I think, and you just get on there, and I'm sure all of them are very, very good and probably easy to work with. But The big thing is just don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the technology. Don't be afraid of social media and talk to your kids. So, and I'm with Jody. There's no privacy in my house. You don't get privacy. You have boundaries, but so my wife's actually really good at doing that with the kids. She goes through their phones all the time. So, but any questions?
I want to add one
Yeah.
more thing about, I had a grandmother last year that did not protect her credit card. And her grandson was on the gaming sites. And he was enticed by someone to share that credit card with them. And she was not able to recover any money that was stolen because it was out of country where all this took place. The bank, I think, reimbursed $50 and it was over 1,000 that was taken. So I don't think kids realize at all what's going on, and they're trying to be friends with these people and trying to make friends, and yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. I really appreciate this. Anybody have any questions on the chat or in the room at all? You all did an outstanding job. I feel a lot more educated, and I really appreciate your time to do this. It was outstanding.
Anytime.
You want to go ahead and turn us off, Sarah?
Sure. Oh, yeah, it's recording. I was like, I mean, I can turn it off if you need it.
But really, thank you all. Thank you all for showing up today, and thank you for what you shared, because